Our next speaker is Robin Chesshier. I'm going to give you some Serbian names to say. No, but Robin's going to speak to us on ethics in business. So, Robin.
Thank you. I'm Italian. I have nervous energy, so I'm going to be walking around a little bit. First, thank you so very, very much for inviting us and letting us be here. It's very humbling for us to be here. You've given up your time to sit and listen to us, so thank you very, very much. If you have any questions throughout, please interrupt, just stop and ask a question. My background, I work for a company. I'm a consultant. I work in gas and oil, and my specialty is negotiations. I help people buy their product at the best price. So I have to develop strategies and negotiation tactics so that they can get that product at the best price. Negotiations, no matter who you are or what you do, is a very, very good skill. It's a very good skill to learn and to master, because in business, in personal life, doesn't matter. You will use negotiations. I go into department stores and I negotiate on my clothes what to pay. It works. You never know. You always ask for something. What can they say? Yes, no, right? So that's my skill. But I'm going to start the topic with a story. One of my very first jobs was working for Wall Street. Everybody know Wall Street, stocks, bonds? My first job. And I had a client, very old, they were 65, retired. They wanted me to invest their money, but they wanted low risk, high yield, low risk. So I put them into a fund that was going to be safe, but give them nice return on their money. My manager didn't want me to do that. He got paid extra based on what funds we put them in. He wanted me to put them into a different fund that gave him more money. I said, no, that was not good. I put them in their fund, they could lose all their money. That's all their retirement money. They will have nothing for old age. So I said no. In his mind, in the short term, I can make a lot of money. He wasn't thinking what's going to happen tomorrow. What I didn't know was he changed all of my funds. He put them in a high risk. He cheated. He cheated them. 6 months later, our governing body investigated him. He lost his job, he lost his office, and he went to jail. He chose to do wrong because it paid him more money now. He chose to not think about what the consequences were going to be for those actions. And he paid a very heavy price. And the reason why that story is important is because that set the tone for who I am today and how I am in business. In ethics, you're establishing at a young age who you are going to be today and who you are going to be tomorrow. You can choose to do what's right, or you can choose to do what's wrong. If you choose to do what's wrong, you may do good now, but what will happen to you later? That's the most important thing, is you have to not just think about today, you need to think about what will happen to me tomorrow. And it served me very, very well through all of my business and even my personal life. In my business, in the plastics, I work in gas and oil. In my industry, they know me, not because I'm an expert, but they know me because of my ethics. When they become my client, they will tell me, I don't know if you really could save me money, but I trust you. That means a lot. I trust you. I trust you're going to work hard for me. I trust you're going to do the right thing for me. And I trust that then, yes, maybe I will make some money. So it's a very important thing, because you need to decide who or what you want to be. And how, today and tomorrow. Do you want to be that person that when they look at you say, I know her. She's very honorable. She's very honest. I choose to work with her. It's something that a lot of people don't think about because they think about what can it do for me today? How can I benefit today? And you compromise yourself because your ethics, your morality, that's who you are. No one can take that away from you. That's you. So that's who you can choose to be. And some other examples that were some of the questions earlier that Peter and this lady asked. When you're looking to hire someone, what do you look for, or do you just hire based on instincts? When I was first getting into the gas and oil, I did not know that market. I was applying for a job, but I was not qualified. Not qualified at all. There's no way I should get that job. One of the things he did is he would take us through the manufacturing plant and show us what they made. And when I first saw that, I was like, wow, that is so cool. How did you do that? That's a little pellet. Wow. I was so enthusiastic and I was excited. I got the job. I got the job because of my enthusiasm and my excitement, not because I knew the industry. But he felt he could teach me. He could teach me the job. He couldn't teach me enthusiasm. He couldn't teach me the excitement. He could not teach that. If you've got that, he can teach the rest. So to your question, yes, some people will hire based on instinct, but my enthusiasm was genuine. It wasn't a facade. It wasn't fake, because he would have seen right through that. I never would have got the job. I was being genuine. I was being very real. It was very exciting to see a little pellet become that plastic cup. It was amazing. So be who you are. Always think about not what my decision is going to do for me today, but think about what your decision is going to do for you tomorrow. Because it could either be, yes, you get a job, or no, you don't get a job. And to your question of some of the challenges and what you look for when you're hiring, when I'm hiring, it's very difficult because now there are so many people who are looking for work and they all are very, very similar. They all have very good credentials. So how do you pick that one out of everyone that's all the same? I'm going to answer that with a story. When I was interviewing for another job, I did a lot of research. I looked at the details of the company and who was going to interview me. So during the interview process, I even knew where he went to university. And when I mentioned that, he was just, wow. How did you know where I went to university? That little thing that I knew where he went, I got the job. That one little detail. So to set yourself apart, be detailed, do your research, try to find that one little thing that's going to set yourself apart, okay? Because everybody's gonna be very similar, and we gotta figure out just what makes you special, what makes you special. And I am gonna look for those little details. I'm gonna look for the one that did the research. I'm gonna look for the one that spent the time to find out where I went to school. I'm gonna look for the one that put the effort, that did that little extra, because that's the one that I know is going to do the extra for me. That's the one I know, no matter if they don't know everything now, I know they're gonna put the work in to finding it. So I kind of jumped around a little bit there, but it was to answer that question earlier. Any questions? I kind of went fast. I'm sorry. Yes?
Thank you. I just have one question about the ethics. When we are young and when we are starting to work for somebody, what is your advice? What should we do when someone who is our boss or our mentor wants from us to do something which we consider not so ethic? On one side we have our job and of the other side, we have our ethics system. Thank you.
That's a very good question. She wanted to know is when you're young and you have a job and your boss wants you to do something that's unethical, what do? You could either lose your job or you can keep your job. I was in that situation. I was young and my president wanted me to lie to someone that we were buying for, wanted me to lie about the price. And you're right, it's a very tough decision because you have your job, but then you have your ethics. I chose to tell him I can't do that because that's a lie. It's not true, and I can't do that. Fortunately for me, he looked and said, okay, I'll tell the lie. Now, I didn't like that either, but I didn't lie, I didn't lose my job, and for me, the one thing it did do, in his eyes, I got another level of respect from him. So, fortunately, he respected me more because I had my ethics and I was not going to compromise on my ethics. It doesn't always work that way. There will be times where you might lose your job, but I can almost guarantee you that the next one will be even better than that one because you didn't compromise who you were. The minute you compromise that first time, then it becomes easier and easier and easier. And now you don't even know who you are anymore. So the best advice I can give is don't compromise. If it's unethical and you're very strong about it, don't do it. Because eventually, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but down the road, it will come back and hurt you. So his question is, how really important is ethics? And in his medical, they are canceling courses on ethics. That's very sad because, especially in medical, they need to have ethics. I mean, right and wrong, because they have patients. So if they choose to do something unethical, it can hurt a patient. In my opinion, it's very, very important. I am the person I am today because I've set that foundation on my ethics. Today, I have people that come and work for me or want to give me their money because of my strong ethics and my integrity. Even within my own company, they know that, no, she's not going to do that. Don't even ask her. People become to know that about you, and they become to respect that about you. It's not going to be easy right away. Make no mistake, it's not going to be easy. You're going to have to make tough decisions, especially young. You will make tough decisions, but those decisions are going to define you. So that's what you have to establish within your own self is what kind of person, man, woman, that you want to be. You want to be that person that people come to you and say, I want you to work for me, or I want you to do this for me because I trust you, or no, you can't go talk to her. She's not honest. And one thing I can assure you, it gets around. People will know. They will know who you are and what you've done. And I know in my own experiences, people I never knew before, they meet me and they say, oh yes, I know who you are. That's shocking. They know who you are. And to me, knowing my strong integrity and ethics is very, very important. Yes, I may lose a job, but I know that later I will get a better job.
If you'll indulge me for a moment, I want to pull kind of the theme out of a couple things here. With the ethical discussions, I too have an interesting story about a friend of mine who runs his own business. He runs an excavation business, construction type business. You know, I think it was Jessica that first said, you got to think long term. She talked about relationships, and she talked long term and about finding, possible clients. My friend is a believer in Jesus Christ. He refuses to do unethical things because of his beliefs, like mine. But here's what he was doing in his business. In America, it's a very, we would call it cutthroat business. You bid jobs, you go and you build roads and communities and do things for cities and municipal areas. And the competitors were not that ethical. They would bid jobs at prices they knew they couldn't do the work for, with the intent that over time, working for that customer during that job, they would say, oh, well, this was worse than we thought, or we didn't know this was here, and get that money back. He knew he couldn't do that job. My friend refused to bid those jobs because he knew he could not beat those prices. He knew what it took to do the job, and he would not bid it for less than that. Well, over time, at first, that hurt. He didn't get a lot of those jobs, but as those other competitors did their thing and ended up costing that customer more than they originally thought they were going to do, and it took longer usually because that guy couldn't put all the management on it. But the bottom line was, Brent, my friend, over the course of many years, got a reputation where people wouldn't even compete jobs. They would come to him and say, I would like you to do this work for me, because they knew he was going to be straight about it. He was going to do what's right. And when he bid that job, he was done on that time when he said he was done, and for the amount of money that he thought he had. Now, everybody runs into a problem once in a while, but he built a reputation. So tying off of what Jessica said, building that relationship and a reputation, the ethical behavior of your company or even yourself is so important. And it may hurt in the short run. It may be tough in the short run. But in the long run, you're going to build a reputation that people will come back to you. I know when he shared that story with me, I could see just how important that was. And I've had my own, but I got speakers here, so some other time we can go into that. Any other questions for Robin?
So I wanted to ask about negotiations themselves. Are there any good practices you would like to share with us? Thanks.
Well, a couple of things that I always stress is don't bluff, don't lie, okay? Very, very important, because the first time you do and they know it, you've lost all credibility, okay? They will no longer believe you. You will not get the best results. So very important is never bluff, never lie. Also, research. Research, research, research. Know everything you can possibly know about the product, about the person, about how they negotiate. Because in negotiation, it's all about what we call leverage. Who has the best leverage? Whoever has the best leverage gets the best results. Leverage is very, very important. The third thing is try to create a competitive situation, meaning if you make this bottle and you only buy from one person the materials to make that bottle, you have no leverage, no leverage. You will pay whatever they tell you, you will pay. So you have to find 1, 2, 3, 4 people that can make that bottle, because then you can go to all 4 of them and say, how much, how much, how much? Oh, but this one I might be able to do a little bit better. Can you meet that price? You play them off of each other. You create competition, okay? So 3 important things. 1, never bluff, never lie. You will be found out. You will lose all credibility. Research, research, research. Know everything you can about them to create leverage. The one who has the most leverage gets the best results. 3rd, create competition, okay? The more competition you have, the better you have leverage.